This is Sundance 2019. This is the IMDb Studio at Acura Festival Village. And look, it's the director and the oh my God, I was almost there. Oh, I was almost there. The word cast fucked me up. It's one syllable, Jesus. I know, my bad. Fuck, there it is. Thanks, man. You know what the problem was? It was too subtle. Here we go. Yes, absolutely. Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome back to Sundance 2019. This is the IMDb Studio at Acura Festival Village. And look, it's the filmmaker and the cast of Corporate Animals. Give it up for him, ladies and gentlemen. Patrick, this is a batshit crazy sounding movie. You're gonna have to take us through it, man. Because at first I read it and I was like, wait, this is a drama? And they're like, no, idiot, it's a comedy. And then I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. Take us through it.
So it's a movie about a small business run by their evil megalomaniac boss, played by Demi Moore.
She's not evil.
She's not evil. she has good intentions, but you know they go in the wrong direction. And it's her business is not going well. She decides to take them on a corporate team building retreat, led by famed mountaineer Ed Helms. They end up going spelunking, and there's a cave-in, and then they're stuck for an entire movie, and things get really weird and scary.
Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a term that showed up in some of the literature, casual cannibalism?
Yeah.
How casual does it have to be?
I mean, a good portion of the film is the discussion of whether or not they should eat each other.
Oh,
So
that's
it's
awesome.
yeah.
Like, who's the weak link?
Who would taste the best?
Who has the worst attitude?
Who's going to be the most delicious?
Yeah.
And these are conversations that always go on at work, but you never actually get to that point of
That's
like,
right.
well, let's find out.
Yeah.
This is the movie that actually takes
Yeah,
it
this is
there.
what happens when you put them in a pressure cooker situation.
You have been up here before with The Overnight, correct?
Yes.
And you've made a slew of movies, and you're always writing and directing. This one you didn't write. Did I notice that? Is that correct?
That's right.
What does it take for a writer-director to be like, I'm going to put down that one hat and pick up somebody else's statement?
It takes literally my favorite comedic writer, Sam Bain, who created the show Peep Show and wrote Four Lions, and is just like a hero of mine, sending me a one-page treatment and saying, hey, is this something you'd be interested in? And luckily it turned into something that's like, I mean, he's one of my favorite collaborators and one of my best friends now. And it was,
Did you know that call was coming, or one day it just came out of the blue?
No. And it was, I mean, it was, I actually credit that to Mike Falbo, who's Ed Helms' producer and just a fantastic dude, who had this project with Sam, thought of me for it, but had no idea that I was such a huge fan. So it was just a true kismet situation, just as the casting of this movie was, whereas we have like all these different sort of comedic voices, you know.
Huge cast.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this though, just because I'm fascinated by this. What was it like to direct somebody else's thing for somebody who does their own thing?
I mean,
I know you love the dude's work, but
Yeah.
like, do you find yourself like I would be calling that dude, being like, "What'd you mean when you wrote this? How should I do
Right.
this?" Second guessing myself.
Well, I mean, I had the benefit of, because it was sent to me as a one-page treatment, I was there throughout the whole process, developing it and sending
ground
notes.
up.
And so, you know, I feel like very much like there's a lot of me in the script, you know,
Right.
and there was a lot of like mutual understanding and a shared sense of humor between me and Sam. And Sam was there the whole time. We had the benefit of literally, he was watching the World Cup, but he was there. You know?
Right. Priorities.
Right, totally.
We've never met, but I don't even know how to go into this. Here, I'll put it this way. We've been doing this for 4 days. And when we start these things, we put together the master list of everybody that we're going to speak to. No bullshit. Everyone in the office was like, Demi is coming? and that's based on the fact that, like, you have such a storied career. There's a Demi Moore movie for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, not just like the big classics, of course, like A Few Good Men and Ghost and so forth and so on. But like for me, it's like Mortal Thoughts. Like, I go deep on that movie in a big bad way. You've been in this business for 3 decades, almost 4. Right now, particularly at this festival, we talk a lot about women in film. You've been a woman in film succeeding for decades, and you make it look effortless, but I wonder, like, was it always? Was the climb harder than it looked?
It's hard. It's hard. Oh, sorry. It's hard, but you know, I think when you're walking it, you just are taking it one step and putting one foot in front of the other, and you know, I think you have to. I think you have to be resilient and you have to be tough. And it's exciting time though to see where it's at for women right now.
I mean, but for a lot of folks, you're an icon who's been there for a while. You know what I'm saying? Like most people catch up. You seem to have been in charge of your career for quite some time. Like, when did you feel?
Thank God it looks like that.
It's not the case?
No, I mean, I think it has hills and valleys, and sometimes there's been times that it seemed like it's just really moved really easily, and other times that feels like it's like glue, and this was one of those little gems that came that allowed me to do something that was completely out of the box. I mean, I feel like, I was looking at the cast and Patrick, and it was like, one of these things just doesn't belong here. And I felt like that. And to be able to do a comedy and a character that's, not heroic.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, just to get a chance to try to be funny.
When we had our first phone call, Demi was like, just so you know, I'm not funny. And I was like, I'm sure that's not the case.
I remember spending an entire summer watching One Crazy Summer, Savage Steve Holland movie back in the day. That's funny, though. You were funny, man.
No, she's really funny in this movie, so that's, I mean, you're being very humble.
Yeah.
No.
And she would know from funny, which allows me to jump over to you right now.
Okay.
You were up here 2 years ago, gave a beautiful speech out in the snow and stuff like that, which I absolutely adored. Never got a chance to tell you that. But
you.
here, what I wanted to ask is, we can talk about the movie, of course, but two dope queens, man.
Yeah.
You're one of the few people I know in the world that aggregated from podcast to show of podcasts. It's happening more and more. What was that like, to create your own thing? This is ours, we can do whatever we want, and then somebody's like, we'd like to take it to a larger scale.
Yeah, Two Dope Queens is great. It started with me and my work partner on the project, Phoebe Robinson. She's a stand-up, and I come from The Daily Show and like a Upright Citizens Brigade background, and we had discovered that we were both black ladies. We both sort of grew up predominantly around a lot of white people, and we both... just had all these, we both just like to make each other laugh. And a lot of times, I know for auditions and stuff, we usually ended up having auditions for supporting characters in other people's, projects or movies or films and TV or whatever. But we just wanted to actually do something where we were the stars of our own narrative. And so on top of that, we also have a lot of stand-ups and comedians that we like in Brooklyn, because we both live in Brooklyn, that we wanted to give a platform. And I think as soon as we started doing those shows, we did them every other week at Upright Citizens Brigade to start, then the show just grew and grew and grew, and the audience just became more and more diverse. We then partnered with WNYC. Then it became a podcast. So we just kept doing it because we loved it. We weren't thinking that HBO would want to get involved. And then, finally we had a lot of interest and we decided to go with HBO, because HBO, when you think of comedy special, like it's HBO, period. Right. And so that was really a dream come true. We did our first season, and our second season's coming out in a couple weeks. So we're really stoked about that.
That's fantastic. And also, did you do Fantastic Beasts this year as well?
Yes, I did Fantastic Beasts this year. J.K. Rowling slid in my DMs because she was a fan of The Daily Show back when I was on. She just liked me, and we had the same birthday.
That has to be the richest person in your DMs.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh my God.
It's definitely in my top 5 richest people in my DMs.
You're like the biggest Harry Potter fan.
Oh yeah,
that never happens.
Oh, I've got Harry Potter tattoos. I'm pretty nuts about it. And so when she DM'd me, I didn't respond for 3 weeks because I just was in Microsoft Word drafting a response. And then finally, one thing led to another. We just met up, and then she wrote me this really awesome badass character who made a cameo in this last one, and then has a big part in the next 3. So I'm really excited to be a witch. That's awesome.
It was so weird to be a part of that universe. You used to read the books, right?
When I was 9, yeah. So I never would have thought with my 9-year-old self that eventually I would get to be a witch. That's bananas.
Oh my God, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
You, sir, last time we saw you, you were about to join X-Force.
That's right, before Disney.
Yes. Yeah, that's my big question. What happens? Do you think X-Force will still happen?
I don't know. I will say I knew a lot of what was happening before that. I'm signed for 2 more movies, but that's a Fox deal. But all of that is, I think it's all in flux, I think, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I know Ryan really wants to do it, and the movies make a lot of money, but I don't know. It's up to Disney, I guess. They're going to decide, but
And did I see that you're also working with Ryan in Detective Pikachu as
yeah,
well?
that was kind of nice. Yeah,
loves you.
Yeah, well, that's I'll take it. Yeah. Actually, Deadpool, I had never read a comic or didn't have any connection to that at all. When my manager told me, because I auditioned for it, it was completely secretive, so I didn't know what it was. And my manager's like, oh, you're in Deadpool. And I was like, Daredevil. And he was like, Deadpool. I'm like, what? And so I just kept being like, God, he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's Daredevil. And so, yeah. And he's like, no, it's not. But Pokemon, I grew up loving. And so I actually had initially always like wanted to be in that. So that was really cool. I'm in it very little, but it's still really exciting. I got to hold a Pokeball and a real Pokeball.
Don't downplay that, man. That's huge.
I actually asked. I never asked. I know on Deadpool, I didn't ask to take home anything, and I was like, with Pokemon, I was like, can I take this home? And they were like, no.
Shut
They
down.
only made like 6 Pokeballs. There's only 6 real Pokeballs that exist, so each one is worth like $10,000 or something because it's like a valued movie prop or something. But anyways, it's fun.
Does it open?
I stole it. Yeah.
Does it open?
There's some that open. There's some that light up. There's some that are just for throwing because they're different dimensions. Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
This is deep cuts, man. Oh my God, that's lovely. You have worked with this gentleman before,
I
correct?
have,
Creed
yes,
2.
yes. And we met many years ago through Mark Duplass.
That's right.
Actually, I met you at a test screening for Creep 1 in 2011.
That's true. And I remember you leaving and like not really making eye contact with me. And so I spent like maybe
I
2
remember
years
that.
thinking, wow, Karan hates my movie. Maybe I should put him in the sequel and murder him.
I just remember that test screening, like, I'm just so uncomfortable because people were giving feedback afterwards and everyone was like jumping on top of each other and I was just like, I don't want to say anything. Like, I don't know.
Well,
but
that's very sweet of
But
you.
it changed a lot. That movie changed a lot from that
Because of
screening.
that negative reaction. That was why. We knew we had to go fix it. I mean, those movies are crazy. You know, we make those movies just me, Mark Duplass, and a video camera
Running
for the most
around.
part.
The dream. It's literally as independent as it gets.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, I feel so lucky that we get to make these weird movies in that way. And so when Karan came to shoot it, that was literally like a day that you came in.
A few hours, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no video village, so we would finish the take and then literally
All
open the
crowd
video
around.
camera and
Yeah.
like crowd around and be like, did we get it? It was unbelievable.
Yeah, no, we do not look like professionals while we're making those movies whatsoever.
Who's in the movie that directed The Miseducation of Cameron Poe?
Desiree Akhavan.
Desiree, that's
Yeah.
right. So Desiree was in Creep 2. She goes on to be a director. You've got a list of credits. You've been around a lot of sets. When do you think you're gonna jump behind a camera?
Yeah, I definitely want to do it, but I don't think I can act in it, so it would have to be something that I still want to act. So I think when that's dried up, next year, I guess. Next year. Next year, it's happening. There we go. Yeah, I do want it.
Ed, you must have entered the we need folks from the Daily Show ad, the same one that she answered as well. How are you, sir?
I am fantastic. Thank you.
What spelunking skills did you bring to this picture? Did you know in advance? I know you've got skills beyond the obvious. Like I've seen you banjo, so
Sure,
it
sure.
could be you could cliff dive as well.
So a lot of people associate me with adventure sports, and the more gnarly and more extreme, the better. If you saw me on my episode of Bear Grylls, you know that I almost cried a lot. But no, actually, it was super fun. I get to play this a very Bear Grylls-y. In fact, I called Bear Grylls and asked him if I could imitate him, basically, and he thought it was very funny. So the rope that I'm wearing in the movie is kind of an homage to Bear. But
Nice.
but yeah, so it's out of my comfort zone in a wonderful way.
Right. But you still get to be funny, and that's still within the comfort zone.
I think me looking badass is funny. Or trying to look badass, I should say.
Space Force. Greg Daniels doing a show for Netflix.
Yeah.
Steve Carell going back. Can't imagine you don't get a call.
Well, I don't know. I haven't yet. We'll see what happens.
Let me
I'm
work on
super
that.
excited about that just that combination. I mean, Greg and Steve are two of my favorite people and two people that make me laugh harder than just about anybody. So I think it's going to be a really incredible thing. But I've also got some stuff up my own sleeve.
For
So,
example, Sal, what do you got?
Well, some things brewing. I'm just going to put it that way. But yeah, I think so many people from The Office are doing so many cool, amazing things, and there's all this like, is there going to be a reunion show? It's like, look at what everybody's doing. Everybody's doing such cool stuff. How would a reunion even happen? It's just
everyone just wants to see family together and
know.
enjoying themselves.
I
and
know.
whatnot. What was it like jumping into that show? It was up and running when you jumped into it, but then you became Deep Cuts part of that family.
Yeah, it was scary because I left The Daily Show to do that, and I was sort of anxious about, I've got this bird in hand, but I really wanted to kind of change up what I was doing and how I was perceived as a performer, and so I jumped in, and really the cast of that show is so special. Not just the cast, the crew, the writers, the producers. I basically fell into a warm nest. And I was welcomed and encouraged, and it became this instantly collaborative thing. And all of my sort of fears and trepidation walking onto a new set, especially a set where a cast is well formed and bonded, just evaporated instantly because it was such a warm environment. I have to say, and I'm not just like gratuitously turning back to this movie,
Yes,
but
do it.
this cast also was more familial than just about any movie cast I've worked with. There was something, I don't know. I think Patrick, your vibe as a director, I think my vibe as a producer, frankly, but there was just a comfort and a kind of ease on this set that was very rare, and especially for a movie that involves casual cannibalism.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think.
Is that going to be on the poster? That should be the tagline.
Yeah.
Casual cannibalism guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's sell it too.
I gotta say, a lot of that comes from Demi Moore being the lead and coming from her energy. And can I tell a story about Amma? Is that
Do
okay?
it, do it.
So, do you know who Amma is? The hugging guru. She goes around from town to town, and she, people line up to hug her basically. And you hug her, and you feel grace. And she was in Santa Fe, New Mexico while we were shooting the movie, and she was going to be there the first weekend, and we literally all just met each other. And Demi's like, guys, Amma, the hugging guru, she's in town. Who's coming with me? And everyone was like, oh, that sounds great, Literally every single member of our cast went with Demi to go get hugs from Amma.
Sunday, we'd worked 6 days that week.
Everyone was like pretty tired.
And everybody cried. Like, they showed up on Monday with like just a glint in their eye, and they were forever bonded from that point on. It was this beautiful
I've
thing.
never been on a show where literally all of our off time we spent it together.
Yeah.
How beautiful is that?
It was really magical, and people talk all the time. It was great. This one was different.
18-day shoot where everyone is stuck in a cave the whole movie. Every actor is in every scene together. It's basically a recipe to drive actors crazy.
Right.
And they all luckily ended up loving each other. So
It sounds like the real life version of the movie was just everyone bonding with no cannibalism.
right. So we had to fight that.
Although everybody, yes. We got here a winter hat, man, and what we do is we throw questions in here. We ask you to take one of those questions,
Oh my gosh.
and then everybody give it an answer.
Okay.
Should I tell people what it is?
Yes, read
If
it.
you could star in a biopic about anybody, who would it be?
Wow.
There you go.
Anybody?
Who wants to go first?
I go with Larry Bird. He seems like a nice guy, and we're relatively the same height, and seems like he's had a pretty chill life,
I'm gonna keep with that theme. I'm gonna go with Shaquille O'Neal. That would be really fun. I think that dude's so funny. I love his Instagram.
Yeah.
I love his journey. Everything about it. I would be Shaquille O'Neal.
You can do it justice.
I would be very excited to be in Patrick Brice's biopic, directed by Patrick Brice. I think I could do you pretty well. If I
Just get some scruff and
Yeah.
that would be insane.
If that happens, IMDb gets 10% because that happened
absolutely.
right
Of
here.
course.
yeah.
Of course.
The first thing that came to my mind is what I'm going to go with. The Indian guy in The Social Network, I don't know his real name. In real life, they didn't cast an Indian actor for that role. He has a story. It was Hollywood at a different time. He has a story, and I'll play
Different
his
time.
story. It was a few years ago. He passed. He has no Indian in him, but there was, and whoever the Indian person is part of the making of Facebook, his biopic. Sure, why not?
That's tight.
So this wouldn't be, very politically correct, but I'm going to go with his theme, and maybe I should then choose Gandhi.
Yes. For the lady who's done everything, for the icon who's done everything, all that's left
You've
is
shaved
Johnny.
all your hair off before.
I
too.
have shaved my head. I
That's
got that
true.
part down.
G.I. Jane it all over
I
again.
would love some motivation to like get shredded.
Just like a rip.
Somewhere Ben Kingsley is like, don't do it. Ladies and gentlemen,